But among, the lobbying efforts and the good gun law wins that we have and the repeal of infringements, I can imagine a scenario where YouTube goes dark and people can't find us.
Yes. We are the Arms Attorneys. Today we are talking about the new YouTube censorship rule against guns and gun channels. We're going to talk to you about what this new rule is, about how it affects us, how it affects your other favorite gun channels, and how this is a growing trend, not only amongst social media platforms, but also everywhere in the country. And finally, we're going to tell you what we're doing about it and what you can do about it. But before we get started, show your support for the Second Amendment by hitting the like button.
And this is a rule set to go into effect on June the 18th, 2024. And, I can see some folks saying, YouTube creators tuning out, but this is really going to affect everybody. And so I hope you stick around and just hang in there with us during this discussion.
Right. We don't often go like meta on this. Like we're not like on YouTube talking about YouTube.
No,
very often.
I try not to talk about YouTube.
No. So like this is like, it's serious, y'all.
Yeah. Well, and here's the deal. It's already affected us, and we are a commentary channel for the most part. We're not even showing the use of firearms.
There is a reason. I know y'all comment a lot like, oh, go to the range. And it's like, that's what we do off camera because there's a reason that we don't put it on camera. And it's because YouTube has very specific rules about the way in which you can show firearms and then like what happens to your channel in terms of it being pushed out to viewers.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all sorts of
I don't know if you've noticed, but if you watch any of the videos where people are like loading a magazine, they like blur that out.
Yeah. It's not allowed. You're not allowed to show yourself loading a magazine on YouTube.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
There's actually there's a channel that I really like. It does it like basically like bad movie reviews. It's very, very funny. They do like the Blade videos. It's hilarious. But every time they have to blur something because YouTube doesn't like it, because it's like, I don't know, like a little like, stupid gore sort of thing. They blur it with like a big sign that says YouTube knows what's best for you.
All right, can we steal that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We may steal that. But so this actually happened to us just this past week. We had a video discussing a new scam. Illegal aliens are pulling on people in order to get U visas here in the United States. These are visas that allow folks to stay in the country legally if they are crime victims. And so what are they doing? They're going out and they're contracting with scammers to fake robberies. We showed a portion of a news report, and that discussion got age restricted and demonetized because it questions.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There was a not really visible firearm on the...
Everything's blurred out too.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
And
yes,
so
we got censored.
So it's a, YouTube, just a little mechanics. They say, our algorithm picked this up. You say, please check it again. And their algorithm really works hard. And then they confirm that. We asked a human to review it. And a human, I imagine, sitting in a Starbucks in Seattle, or I don't know, some guy looked at it and said, yep, computer did good.
Yep.
So
the AI knows.
The AI knows. And so we wanted to talk about this policy just a little bit, how it's probably going to affect us going forward, and what we're going to do to kind of fight back. And so we want you to hang out with us. But let's talk about this policy.
Yes. So this was pushed by, in fact, I believe that Alvin Bragg of Trump conviction fame was one of the parties who sent like a strongly worded letter to YouTube about its firearm content and about how it's, I think, ruining the youths, I think, is the overarching point.
Yeah, actually, this is kind of a flashback to an episode we just did about how the United States Supreme Court said, hey, government, if you're not allowed to do this and coerce people, then you can't force, third parties to act on this. The New York case involving insurance companies. Seems to be right in line with that.
It does seem to be right. I hadn't thought of it. It does seem to be right in line with that. He was spurred on by some of the anti-gun groups who are very well-funded and become more and more powerful every day as their evil grows. But so YouTube responded, and as YouTube is wont to do. I mean, honestly, YouTube doesn't need that kind of pressure to do things that suppress firearms related content because they love doing that anyway. That's their favorite thing.
Yeah.
They did it, I mean, it was last summer is when they did the magazine loading rule, amongst others, right?
Yep.
That was about a year ago. I mean, it's just time for the yearly YouTube crushing the Second Amendment
Well,
anyway.
and there's a little bit of an overlap with 2A creators and certain political proclivities that aren't going to be in vogue for at least the next couple of months.
You know, this video is going to be like heavily suppressed, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have like 2
It's
views
going to be
on this
like
video.
fact check, election was fair, fact check.
So
if this video gets censored, that would be very funny.
that'd be very funny. Okay, so what is this new rule? And you would think like, oh, well, this doesn't really affect, you know, the armed attorneys. This is about basically showing how to 3D print a firearm. Can't do that. You can't show people how to mill out an 80% lower. You can't show people how to attach a bump stock. You can't show people how to, I mean, it's just a number of things.
Yeah, I'd say the other 2 big ones are firing automatic firearms and what they deem a high capacity, the use of a high capacity magazine in their eyes.
Right. So this is all legal activities. Well, attaching a bump stock is in, you know, bouncing back and forth between legal and illegal, but like generally speaking, legal activities in the United States, in fact, things that have a long and storied tradition of not only being legal, but heavily protected in the United States, which YouTube says, no, no, no. And the reason that's troubling and problematic is that it's showing people how to mill out an 80% lower today. Tomorrow, it's telling people that they are allowed to do that, or discussing the technicality of it.
Yeah,
or,
discussing what the legal definition of a high capacity magazine is.
Yes. So it's, I mean, they're coming for us. They're coming for all the Second Amendment content creators, unfortunately.
Yeah, and part of this is I think they're trying to put their thumb on the scale of, you know, politics being downstream from culture and how they're going to, you know, get these folks. I mean, those are going to result in strikes and whatnot. But this kind of borderline content, and they have a borderline content policy that I imagine is going to expand and apply to this, is they're simply just going to age restrict the content. They and why that affects creators so much. That means you have to be logged into YouTube, and your date of birth has to be before a certain date before YouTube will even show the video to you. And I'll say about half the people maybe don't even have a YouTube account. I mean, they don't have a Google account. They just go browse, see what's going on. Yeah. And so, boom, right then and there, you're cut off.
Yes. What is the larger trend here, I guess? Because we do see it. We see it with YouTube. We see it with Facebook and Meta. Oh my gosh. I mean, that stuff is like,
yeah.
Like we tried a little bit with even the law firm, right? Just to like advertise our firearms legal services. And Facebook was like,
we started at TikTok and it was like, hey, you want to learn about gun laws? It's like permanently banned.
Yeah. It's tough, but it's not just the social media companies, right? This is an incredibly large scale trend in the United States to take like corporations and use them as a government tool, right? To suppress speech the government doesn't like, because I mean, you're making potato chips. Why do you give a shit about the Second Amendment? But I mean, what other companies are doing this sort of thing? And it is, I mean, it's everything that matters, right? So if you are going through the social media companies, you're controlling, or the legacy media, you're controlling what people are seeing, right? Which is very, very important to culture. It's also the banks. It's the credit card companies.
Yep. Insurance companies.
Insurance companies, right? They are all putting policies in place, and they are private organizations. And so they are very much allowed to say, you know, we don't want to hold your bank account if you are a Second Amendment related company, which lots of banks are saying. We don't want to issue you a credit card. We don't want to give you insurance for your gun range.
We don't want to host on our servers your own content that's private.
Yes. So, I mean, it is a full-scale attack on the Second Amendment that is not coming directly from the government, and so is incredibly hard to fight.
But it's not all doom and gloom. I mean, the reason they are fighting so hard is because they are getting a lot of pressure. And I mean, we have a lot of wins under the belt, and there are more wins on the horizon. I mean, just one example, and you know, it's no secret, Emily and I lobby for good gun laws here in the state of Texas. Or another way of saying that is repealing infringements in Texas. But we have protections, for example, that businesses can't discriminate against firearms businesses.
Yes, exactly. Richard wrote a killer piece of legislation that was passed into law last session that stops credit card companies in Texas from reporting your firearm transactions.
Yeah, we were like
He
the
worked
first.
really hard on that.
Yeah, we're like one of the first states
Yeah.
to do that. Now, I think a few other states have picked that up.
Exactly.
So, there are real fights, and we're going to keep you informed about those things. But on just the back end, and I know that there's going to be a lot of comments about, hey, go over on Odyssey, go over on Rumble, go on one of these other alternative platforms. And unfortunately, and we just have to deal with the reality that we're given. YouTube is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. They really are. This is how we reach the most people. And I'll tell you, we've uploaded on all of these platforms, and the market kind of dictates there just isn't demand on those platforms yet,
No.
as much as we'd want there to be. But among the lobbying efforts and the good gun law wins that we have and the repeal of infringements, I can imagine a scenario where YouTube goes dark and people can't find us.
Yes. So we would like that to not happen because I like to think, and we have many comments who reinforce this belief, we give you really good information. We give you like no hype. This is the law. This is how you practically apply it. This is what you need to know in plain English to keep yourself safe. And I want you to be able to find us for that, even if YouTube shuts us down. So what we've got is we are setting up our own website. It is not live yet, but it should be live, I hope, in the next month or so. And we are starting a newsletter. We will get you signed up for that now. We've linked it in the description. We're not going to spam you, but if everything goes bad, you need to know where you can find this kind of information. And so shortly we will get that newsletter out to you guys. Helpful, good gun law information. It is important that as a community, we stay connected and we don't let the YouTube win.
No, we can't let the YouTube win. And, part of this, even though the website's not live yet, we got to start making preparations now. So please check that out. Link in the description below. But sorry for the somber discussion. Man, we got two of these. There's another one coming this week. Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
But we hope you enjoyed this discussion. If you did, consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and help us fight the anti-2A algorithm by sharing this video.
And click on our link, subscribe to our newsletter. You will not regret it.